If you're sitting down to watch this video today, then you probably have a small business or you're hoping to start one very, very soon. And I'm here to tell you that you are in the right place. My name is Lauren and I am the owner of Flynnwiki. The name is a little bit weird, but what I do is sew handmade accessories, baby clothing, bits and bobs, and sell them online and in-person markets in Perth. As I said, if you're sitting down to watch this video, you might already have a business. And if you do, I would love for you guys to comment down below and tell me what the first thing you would do if you could start your business again right now. In general, I'm really curious. You also might end up giving some advice to somebody else. If you're a small business owner to be in the near future, then definitely go down and check the comments to make sure that you've completed all the steps that everybody else is recommending as well. Personally, I started my business in the height of COVID and I started at doing in-person markets. But I only started with a handful of dog bandanas and scrunchies, and it was right before Christmas. I made 2 sales, but I was just happy to be there. From there, I just started doing as many markets as possible. I was pretty much doing at least 1 market a weekend, and then that evolved into doing 2 markets a weekend. And my baseline goal for these markets were pretty low. I was aiming for double whatever the stall fee was, no matter where I was or how much the stall cost. In that case, if I spent $10 on a market stall, I was hoping for $20 in sales, which is pretty low and not really a great business plan. But in general, I kept at it and I kept going all throughout the rest of COVID and continued even when I got a full-time job. And now I'm about to head into another full-time job, having the same sort of business plan. The fact that I need another full-time job feels like maybe I could have made a few different steps. And that's where this video comes in. I did a lot of research. I watched so many YouTubers about how they would start businesses and the 10 most viral tips to start a business, 5 tips that mean immediate 6-figure businesses overnight, all of that sort of stuff. It's crazy how many videos are online, and I know I'm kind of just adding to it today, but it's okay because it's from another perspective of a business that isn't yet successful, from somebody who isn't yet a millionaire. Hopefully you guys can maybe relate to it just a little bit more than you can relate to the other people who make those videos. To get straight into these small business tips that I have for how I would restart my own business in 2025, the first thing I want to say is to actually have a niche. People always talk about having a niche, and to be completely honest, when I started my business, my YouTube channel, my social media, anything, my whole life, I don't really have a niche. My niche is a cluttered brain, to be completely honest. If we go back in time to what I said earlier about my first ever market stall, I had dog bandanas and scrunchies. So something for humans and something for dogs. Even then I wasn't niching down. I had 2 products and they were both for different people. In my opinion, I'm a girl that loves to wear scrunchies and I have a dog that I love to put dog bandanas on. That doesn't mean that everybody's the same, and that doesn't mean that that's a niche that you can really go down in a really in-depth way without making a lot more products dedicated to dogs and a lot more products dedicated to dog-loving humans. So if I was to make scrunchies with dog paws on them and maybe dog bones, treats, little dogs sitting next to a book stack even, all of that sort of stuff on a scrunchie or on a treat pouch that I'm handmade with my own sewing skills, and then also having dog bandanas and handmade dog collars and leads and, as I said, treat bags, even poop bags and things like that. I could have gone down that route, and that's very well a route that you could go down if you are definitely a dog lover and a sewer as well. But unfortunately, I didn't go down that route. I went down the route of doing a lot more scrunchies and doing a lot more dog bandanas, but I kind of only kept them at one corner of my table and didn't really advertise them that much. And then all of a sudden I added tote bags, and then all of a sudden I tried hair bows and hated making them, so I stopped that pretty quickly. I tried making keychains and I hated them, so I stopped making them pretty quickly. But I tried all of these things to try and test my market, but in reality I was bringing people into my stall and then they'd see things and be kind of confused at where I was going. Obviously my business grew from there and I started really tailoring what I made to who I was selling to and trying to really figure out my audience that was actually just women. So once again, I did what I wanted and not really what was best for my business. And I went out and I bought some baby clothing patterns and I tailored them to make it as quick as possible. And I made these baby jackets that I fell in love with and I started selling them. And granted, for me to get any sort of a return on those baby jackets, I had to price them at $50 and I felt awful about it. So that kind of confused me a little bit and I felt a little bit guilty. And then I fell in love with quilting things, which is so funny because everyone seems to be falling in love with it these days. Now I'm getting into that. I found an industrial machine for a really great price so that I can sew things really quickly. I'm making things for people. That's it. That's my niche at the moment, is handmade fabric things for people. Yes, my items are mainly feminine and I do still love the baby clothing side of things. I have a great pattern for baby bibs that I just love and wish I could see more of in the world. So I'm still selling those, but at the same time, I don't know where I'm gonna go because I actually haven't decided my niche still. So I think in terms of my business, I'm a very cluttered person and I don't have a niche. My YouTube channel is about books. I like to include baking. I like to include general lifestyle stuff. I've got my small business in there too, which incorporates markets as well. And now I'm starting a job and I want to make full-time worker sort of content so that people can get inspired by that as well. That's 6 different things that can technically all be lumped into my lifestyle and be called a lifestyle YouTube channel. It's all a lot. So, I mean, if you're into that, then subscribe, of course, but some people might not be because it's too different each week. So I get it. I personally would love it. To really wrap up this point here, niching down, finding something that you're passionate about and love and sharing it with the world is kind of important. And from what I've seen, that's one of the biggest tips that everybody gives everybody in terms of social media or business. So I think one of my first steps in my restarting my small business in 2025 plan is to actually find my niche and really stick with it. I'm sitting in my mini library now. As I said about the YouTube stuff, I'm a real big fan of reading. But my next topic / tip has absolutely nothing to do with books and everything to do with pricing. When I started my business, I wasn't working. I was living off government payments through Centrelink in Australia. If you're from Australia, you've probably heard of Centrelink. And I personally was living off of that, and my partner was living with me, pretty much paying for our rent on his own. I didn't have very much money. So starting out my business, I pretty much Googled how much scrunchies cost, and for the businesses that were doing well, even remotely locally for me in Australia, they were pricing them so high that I was honestly gobsmacked. And frankly guys, if you were to look up online how much scrunchies are, in terms of what it is, it's a piece of fabric wrapped around an elastic band that people use to tie up their hair. That's what a scrunchie is. That down to earth, that's what a scrunchie is. And yes, they take time to make. And yes, good quality fabric costs a lot. But sometimes I look at the prices of those things and I think to myself that that's a little exorbitant. Now, honestly, I never wanted to price my item in an unreachable sort of price range for most people. And I know for a fact that people like my own mother or sister or myself would not pay that much. They'd prefer to go down to Kmart and pay maybe $5 for a set of 3 scrunchies at least that work in the exact same way. Because as I said, guys, all scrunchies is one strip of fabric with elastic tied around the middle, used to tie your hair out of your face or for fashion reasons, or in general, it's a hair tie. So when I started my business and sold like 9 scrunchies on one table, when I was figuring out the price for that and the dog bandanas, I sat down with my partner. I went through how much the materials cost. I didn't add my time to make it. In my opinion, I was still learning how to sew properly. But I think I priced those scrunchies at like $5 each. Now, as I said, I felt really guilty selling a $50 handmade jacket to young mothers who had just given birth. But unfortunately for me, I was underselling them. One of my biggest problems since starting this business was that I was pricing things for how I was able to pay for them, not what the general public was able to pay for them. So in going to a market like the one that I was going to, I was actually selling to people who were quite like me. But if I go to a market that's like a festival or a big event or things like that, then it's people who have the luxury to come out and spend money on nice food and go on carnival rides that will be walking past my stall and see something handmade and go, wow, that's worth it. In terms of my jackets alone, they take about 2.5, maybe 3 hours to make one jacket. If I had the same pay that I did when I was working a full-time job 3 years ago, I would probably be earning like $25 an hour-ish, which means that 2 to 3 hours of my own labor is $50 to $75. And that's not including materials or profit. So realistically, the baby jacket is over $100. And I still sell them for only $50 because I understand that it's for a baby. Realistically, I know in my heart that it is a piece of clothing to cover a baby's body, to keep them warm, and probably get dirty within 5 minutes. It's just a nicety, and frankly, it's a luxury. I would make those items for my own kids and they would be walking around strutting their stuff and I would be happy about it, but if I had to pay for that, I would probably not. My tip for myself and for you today is to actually price your items properly. Don't price your items for yourself, don't price your items for your family, and don't price your items for anyone else but what the product is worth. The only thing that you should be pricing your products by is how much the materials cost, how much the labor costs, and how much you want to add on profit. I add about 60% profit to most of my items. Just price them where they're supposed to be priced. My next personal tip on how I would restart my business in 2025 is to take 100% advantage of social media. Now, I started this YouTube channel about halfway through last year, so I've been doing it for almost 9 months now, which is kind of insane. In that 9 months, I've really tried my hardest to find the type of people that I want watching my videos rather than growing quickly. And to be honest, I think I'd still do that with all my other platforms as well. The problem with people going viral on social media is that they gain 40,000 subscribers in one night, but then only 10 of them actually continue watching their videos. So they have 1 million views on their viral video, but the next time they post, they go back to having like 100 views. Or it just slowly decreases where those 40,000 people that subscribed overnight come back to watch the next video that this person posts. They have a lot of views again, but their watch time hours really goes down. That's kind of what being viral means to me, and I don't think I want to go viral. I want subscribers. I want to get to a point where I can monetize my YouTube channel. I would love to be making sales from my YouTube and my Instagram and my TikTok, and obviously that comes with people seeing my stuff. I don't think going viral is the way to get around it. I think it's working hard, posting consistently, keeping up to date with what your specific niche's trends are, going back to that niche thing, making sure that you're following people in your niche so that you know what they're up to and they can sort of guide you. Stepping out and doing something different is always really great as well, but having something to guide you in your posting and your idea generation and all of that is sometimes really nice. And it's not copying, it's following trends. That's something I've had to get my head around, and I will be talking about in a second. Building that online presence, you don't need to go viral. Being viral is not the be all and end all. If you want a quick buck, then going viral is probably nice. But if you want to build a sturdy foundation for a sturdy business, going viral is not it. I need to start making content that I personally am proud of, that I want to share, and that I don't need to go viral. Posting a video, watching the comments, reading from what your audience is saying and loving and then partaking in those comments is just always nice to spread kindness and love. In general, I think that it's nicer to slowly sort of pick up people who will love your videos and really value your time and energy and the time that you put into those videos. Having people that value your content is more important than having people to just click buttons and never come back. I have no idea how dirty that lens has been until I just tried to get like one thing off and realized how dirty it was. There's another plane. I've gotten myself a tea and now I'm ready to ramble for another hour and a half. I hope you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, then make sure to like down below. Let's get on to the next topic. The next two sort of things that I was going to talk about are similar but different, and also kind of similar but different to talking about the social media stuff. The first thing I want to quickly say is that networking and engaging with content online seems to be really great. I've got to be honest, I didn't really believe it, but if you were to post a TikTok online and then leave and never come back to look at it until the next day when you post your next video, or the next week when you post your next video, then it's automatically not going to do as well as if you go onto TikTok, post a video, go back onto your For You page, interact with a couple of videos from people that you don't follow, and then go onto your little followed tab and interact with people that you do follow and comment on videos, like videos, follow more people, all that sort of stuff. Then you log off. In both of those scenarios, if you were to come back and see how well your video is doing, I feel like 9 out of 10 times whenever I do it, I do better if I've interacted with TikTok that day compared to when I just post a video and then ditch it. Unfortunately, it doesn't help my phone addiction though. So I have to set a timer. I have to be mindful. I saw somebody online, they like at least 5 videos, they comment on at least 4 videos, they save at least 3 videos, and they share at least 2 videos. That seems to be working for them, and I think that that's kind of good advice, because then you can sort of keep track of it if you wanted, and once you hit those goals, then you log off and you don't return until you're ready to post another video. That also means then coming back online later though to respond to any comments that your video has gotten, to potentially engage a little bit again with the content that other people have posted, just to keep it up and to keep TikTok aware of who you are and what you're doing. It's always watching you, basically. Scary but true. That goes for YouTube as well. Making sure that you're coming back and responding to comments and acknowledging when a video is doing well through the community tab, or posting something short form directly after, or anything like that. I feel like that tends to sort of lead you towards more engaged followers and subscribers. So in general, just making sure that you're engaging with your own content and other people's content to just keep up to date and getting more views of your own. But in terms of the networking side of things, collaborating, talking with, idea generating with other people in your niche or in your age group, or contacting somebody that you've subscribed to for ages for ideas and tips, or to mention you on their YouTube channels or anything like that. That sort of networking, having friends, not just followers, through the social media apps feels kind of important as well. I highly recommend that, and that's something that I definitely need work on. Networking and finding people in my own niches, thinking up ideas and collaborating with those people seems to be something that I have never done before and should probably try. Then the next sort of thing that relates back to the social media side of stuff that we were just talking about is to monetize your products and services. So this also links back to what I was talking about with pricing things, but making sure that you're validly pricing all your products and then selling them, monetizing things in your everyday life. It can get a bit addictive, and I think that if I was to do it, it would get tiring and also a little bit annoying. You don't want to be the person to invade your own privacy. You don't need to monetize everything in your life. That might be a bit far-fetched, but monetizing a lot So things like having my YouTube channel be monetized would be step 1 in my goals. I make a lot of handmade products with fabric, and making those into patterns to be able to sell could monetize that side of sewing, as well as obviously sewing and selling handmade physical products. Monetizing the short form content platforms would be great. Monetizing sort of any hobbies that I fancy eventually might be nice. Notepads are something that I've gotten into recently. All of those sorts of things is fun to monetize, and that would create a bit more income and stability financially. So, I mean, I recommend it. I think we are going to move on to the sort of last topic that I'm gonna have a big ramble about. Moving on to the last thing, which is to continuously learn, adapt, evolve your products, your niche if need be, your designs, and your ideas. As I said before, watching a video and following a trend is not copying. For some reason, I've really struggled getting this through my head over the past sort of 6 months. I went on social media, I was watching a YouTube video, and I saw that this woman was making something that I loved the idea of. Now, this lovely woman's name is Emily Cromwell from Emily Cromwell Designs, and she makes the most beautiful, out there, colorful, gloriously original designs and puts them on stationery and book sleeves. When I started watching her content, I thought to myself that making book sleeves would be so much fun. But I had stuck myself in this mothers are my audience and mothers only think about babies, not books, and women are my audience, not all women like books. That was where this situation started. With watching Emily Cromwell, maybe, I think it was probably about a year ago that I started watching Emily's videos. A couple months after that I had that thought about making book sleeves myself, not being right for my business. So I started seeing other creators on YouTube posting about book sleeves. I sort of started seeing them kind of everywhere, and I know that at the time I kind of thought, oh, this is interesting, other people are making them. Maybe I could rethink it. And I rethought it over maybe 5 minutes, and I said to myself again that my business was not the business to be making book sleeves. I saw more content creators making them, and that's when I kind of had some ugly thoughts, and they're honest thoughts, but kind of a little ugly of me. But I started getting a little bit jealous and frustrated towards these other creative sewing businesses for making book sleeves, because in my opinion it didn't suit what they actually did. Because from my thoughts and my opinions on this was that I didn't know why they were doing that, because they should have really just been focusing on what they started out with. But that's a really, really old, uneducated and naive thought, frankly. And I had to work on that for about a month after that to be able to make book sleeves for my business. And now this single-handedly one of my favorite things to make. I get so much satisfaction and fulfillment out of making them. But in any case, I got over it. I made some book sleeves. I started selling them. I had 2 of each size on my market stall just to keep it small and minimal. People started wanting them in certain fabrics though, so I was making them to order, and it just brought me so much joy. And now I think to myself, as soon as I see a trend coming, I'm gonna try making it. And if making it brings me joy, I'm gonna add it to my store, because why not? I was late to the book sleeve trend then, and I don't want to be late to another trend, because if people like the look of my stuff and want to buy it, then I want to happily sell it to them. And honestly, I want to give people an option that doesn't cost them double the price it should be. Anyway, going with the trends, learning and adapting your business is beneficial to your business. That's kind of the last tip I have for you guys. To summarize these points for you, just in case you skipped any of my rambling, actually find a niche that you enjoy and feel passionate about. Pricing things fairly and accurately, not so low that you're losing money, not so high that you're stinging people out of their hard-earned money. Building an online presence and using that to make money, monetizing those online platforms, engaging with your audience. That's the next thing, making sure that you engage and you network with your audience. As I said, monetizing your products and services is so important to obviously building a business and making money, and then continuously learning and adapting to the changes and the trends of the world. Hopefully at some point over the next year, I will actually crack down on a niche, or maybe I'll just stick with doing whatever the heck I want. I'm definitely going to be doing an audit of my prices and making sure that my prices are fair and accurate. I'm definitely going to continue posting on social media and building my online presence. As I said, guys, if you enjoy watching my videos, make sure to subscribe so that I can build that online presence. I'm going to be networking more with people in my niche and people in my industries. And then of course, if you guys comment down below, I promise you I will get back to you. I've almost always got my phone with me and I get notified when I get a comment. So hopefully, as long as I don't go viral, I should be able to keep up with comments all the time. I'm definitely gonna go with the trends. As I said though, I'm only gonna follow a trend if I enjoy doing it. Monetizing my YouTube channel is a big goal this year. I don't know whether or not it will happen, but hopefully, yay for that one. And the last thing is to just in general be positive, have a positive mindset, build a magnetism towards my business so that people can actually feel the joy and the passion I have for my business, rather than being down in the dumps if I don't do well at a market or getting upset for not making sales every day. I just want to be positive and happy. They're sort of my things I'm gonna do to restart and regrow my business this year. I'm gonna be trying so many new things. I'm gonna be engaging so much with you guys. So be sure to subscribe again. Comment down below if you have any questions. As I said at the start of this video, be sure to comment down anything that you would do if you wanted to restart your business this year. And if you have any tips and tricks for me, if I didn't mention something, then I'd love to help out as many people as possible. That's my main goal in life, is to just help people, bring people joy and comfort, be relatable, and be a small, happy business. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day or night wherever you are in the world. I love you so, 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 so much. And I will see you again very, very soon with another video. Goodbye.